What would you do if someone told you that you weren't good enough? Would you give up, or would you fight to prove them wrong? Today, I'm sharing the story of Laila, a young woman with nothing but passion and a dream, who faced rejection from her dream job but turned it into an opportunity to change her life. This isn't just a story about success. It's a story about resilience, self-belief, and how one person can rise above all odds. Let's dive in. Laila grew up in a small, modest home on the outskirts of the city. Her parents worked tirelessly, her father as a mechanic and her mother as a house cleaner. They didn't have much, but they had each other. Laila was always the curious one, tinkering with anything she could find. Her father once brought home an old, broken-down computer someone had thrown away. Most people would have seen it as trash, but to Laila, it was treasure. She spent weeks figuring out how to fix it, eventually getting it to work. That old computer became her window to the world of coding. She taught herself HTML, JavaScript, and Python through free online tutorials. Her family couldn't afford a reliable internet connection, so Laila would save tutorials offline at the library and work late into the night after finishing her chores. Laila's mother often worried, "Laila, don't you ever sleep? You'll make yourself sick." But Laila would smile and say, "Mama, just wait. One day, this will pay off." By the time she was in her early 20s, Laila had built small tools for her father's garage and a local bakery her mother cleaned for. One of her most successful creations was a project management app that helped businesses organize their tasks. It wasn't fancy, but it worked, and people loved it. When Laila heard that Innovate Tech, the city's most prestigious tech company, was hiring, her heart skipped a beat. This was her chance. She spent days preparing her portfolio, showcasing all the tools she had built. She even practiced answering common interview questions in front of the mirror. On the day of the interview, Laila walked into Innovate Tech's towering office building. The walls were made of glass, and the lobby was filled with people in sharp suits. She felt a little out of place in her borrowed blazer, but she reminded herself, "I've earned my place here." The hiring manager, Mr. Harris, was a sharp-looking man in his late 40s. His office was sleek and intimidating, with awards and certificates hanging on the walls. Laila sat across from him, nervously clutching her portfolio. The interview started off fine. Laila spoke passionately about her journey, how she had taught herself everything she knew, and how her project management app had helped local businesses. For a moment, she thought she had him impressed. But then his tone shifted. "This is all interesting," he said, flipping through her portfolio. "But you don't have any formal experience. We need someone who's worked in professional environments, not just small community projects." Laila tried to explain. "I understand, but I've spent years building and improving real tools that solve real problems. I may not have a degree, but I have results." He shook his head. "I'm sorry, Laila. You have potential, but it's not enough for a company like ours. Maybe try applying somewhere smaller." Her heart sank. She walked out of the building feeling defeated. Sitting on a bench outside, she let a few tears slip. But as she looked across the street at the cafe where she used to study, something inside her stirred. "No," she thought, "I'm not giving up." Laila went home that night with a renewed determination. If no one would give her a chance, she'd create her own. She decided to turn her project management tool into a full-fledged app for small businesses. The journey was grueling. She worked part-time as a cashier to pay her bills and coded late into the night. Some nights, she barely slept. Her friends often told her she was overworking herself. "Laila, why don't you just get a regular job? one friend asked. Because I want more than just a job, she replied. I want to create something meaningful. Her first big break came when a local bakery chain adopted her app. The owner, a kind older woman named Mrs. Green, called Laila one day. Laila, this app is amazing, she said. You've saved us so much time and stress. How can I thank you? Laila simply said, just tell others about it. Word began to spread, and soon other small businesses started using her app. Within a year, Laila's company, Next Step Solutions, had over 50 clients. She hired 2 employees to help with customer support and app updates. She was finally living her dream. A year after her rejection, Laila was invited to speak at a startup event. Standing on the stage, she felt a mixture of nerves and pride. She shared her story, the rejection, the late nights, and the joy of helping small businesses succeed. The audience gave her a standing ovation. As she stepped off the stage, she saw a familiar face in the crowd, Mr. Harris. He approached her looking awkward. Laila, I didn't realize it was you. I've been hearing a lot about your app. It's brilliant. Actually, our company is struggling to manage internal projects. We'd like to discuss a partnership. For a moment, Laila considered it, but then she smiled politely. Thank you, Mr. Harris, but I'm afraid I'm too busy expanding my company to take on partnerships right now. His face fell, and Laila walked away feeling a sense of closure. She didn't need his validation anymore. She had built her own path. Laila's story teaches us that rejection isn't the end. It's just a stepping stone to something greater. When life closes a door, sometimes it's because you're meant to build your own. If you've ever faced rejection, remember Laila's journey. Believe in yourself, work hard, and never let anyone tell you that you're not good enough. If this story inspired you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this one. Until next time, remember, your potential is limitless.